Hey everybody. So, I'm trying a new position out for the camera, see what kind of view it gets. So I've got it positioned in front of the speedometer, kind of at an angle, so hopefully it's getting a picture of my face. Hopefully you can hear me real well. Hopefully you can't hear any other extra noise. My car's kind of old, so it's loud. I do have the AC off, so maybe that'll help. It's not too bad because it's been raining almost all day ferociously. So it's kind of cool. It's not as hot right now. But right now we're leaving. It's 7:09 p.m. Was kind of hoping to get some footage of the sunset as you go over the Buckman, but alas, it's too cloudy for that. So we're just gonna head and get gas and then go from there. Usually my rides home, I listen to a couple podcasts or audiobooks. Right now I'm listening to Stephen King's The Gunslinger because the movie's due out soon, and I tried to read the book a while back and probably got like a chapter or two into it. I just wasn't really into it, but I was really young when I tried to read it the first time. So I'm trying it now. So far it's not much different. It's still kind of very slow in the beginning, but I'm going to try and barrel through it because I did get it through Audible. I started listening to it this morning after I finished one of the podcasts I was listening to, which there should be a new podcast out that I listen to with Kevin Smith and Ralph Garman called Hollywood Babble. It's really funny if you're a Kevin Smith fan and you can tolerate the language, because there's a lot of dirty jokes, there's a lot of language, there's a lot of what would be inappropriate for some people and kids especially. And then his co-host is a gentleman by the name of Ralph Garman, who does voice acting. He has acted in a few things. So he also does a talk show. No, it's not a talk show. It's a radio show out in LA, I believe. They're really funny if that's your if that's your sense of humor, which for me it is. I really enjoy it. I think they're really funny. And beyond just the language or anything like that, they do a couple segments like Tinseltown Stiffs, which it sounds kind of weird, but what they do is they do they do kind of like eulogies about different actors and actresses or people and musicians, stuff that have died in the most recent week, prior to their last show. And they've done some really, really amazing eulogies for people like Adam West, because Ralph Garman is a massive Adam West fan. He grew up watching Batman when Adam West was Batman, and he's always loved it. He's met Adam West and they ended up becoming really good friends, and the eulogy he gives was freaking amazing. You even learn that he helped Adam West get his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which he probably should have a long time ago, just because of how well he did, not only in Batman, but some of the other stuff he did as well. They did a really good one for Carrie Fisher and her mom, Debbie Reynolds. That's one of the things I like. Then they go over different geeky news items, movies that are coming out. Sometimes they'll do quick little spoiler-free movie reviews. They do a really fun one called No Thanks, We've Already Got One, where they talk about movies that are getting rebooted, or they get a part 2 or a part 3 or a part 99, and how they think it's gonna suck. Usually it's Ralph talking about how it's gonna suck, and it's Kevin being like, it could be good. And that's another reason I really enjoy it, is Kevin Smith's outlook on life and all the things out there similar to my own when it comes to movies and reboots and things like that. While the rest of the crowd is like, oh no, not reboots, they're terrible, you shouldn't reboot our childhood. I'm like, go ahead and reboot it. Introduce my children to my childhood. Let them see what Ninja Turtles are about and Transformers are about. And, no, it's not what I grew up with, and it's not what I'm used to. But it shouldn't be, we've got so much advanced technology. Is it a little weird sometimes? Yeah, it's a little weird seeing 6-7 foot turtles, especially when you're used to them being 4 foot, 5 foot. But they do a really good job with it. My kids love it, and then we talk about the turtle movies that I grew up with, and we go and watch them and things like that. So I enjoy what they're doing, and the simple fact that we've got an onslaught of superhero movies. You know, everybody hated Batman versus Superman, but at the same time, it's like, we have a Batman versus Superman movie. We've been begging for this for years. Yeah, they kind of goofed on some of the stuff, but still, it's a pretty awesome movie. You know, that fight scene between Batman and Superman was just amazing. Anyways, digressing, back to the podcast that they do. That's part of the reason I get into it. I like Kevin's attitude and his outlook on life. And then Ralph is super funny. And Kevin's funny too. But they work well together. They have a good chemistry as a comedy group, couple, whatever. Then the other podcast I listen to is called BLT Lunch Break. They honestly, it's just three guys. One's a vlogger that I watch. His name is Tim Tracker. And the other one is Logan, which I'd never really heard of him until this podcast. And so it's kind of interesting to learn some of the stuff about him. And then Bart, I want to say his last name is Scotlow, but I think I'm saying that wrong. And I think I may have that wrong altogether. Anyways, he's a writer, and it's interesting because I had seen him on Tim's podcast, you know, a year or two ago, and was interested in his book and never had the money or the time to pick up the book. You know, now I'm trying to find it and pick it up and read it. He's got a couple out. He's got one's called Ears of Steel, which is like a guy's guide to Disney World, and being a big Disney World fan, it's something I really want to read. And then he's got another one called Cats in the Castle. That's something I would like to get and read with Allie. I think she might enjoy it, but I gotta get gas. Need the phone. Gotta check on the missus. Gas has been achieved. More than get gas, we got air in the tires. Reason being I did that was the gas station I stopped at. I bought a member card from them about a year or two ago. Take that back. It's been like 6 years, maybe even longer, but it cost me $1 when I bought it, but it lets me get air from the air machine for free. Well, I'm headed home, rocking on down. There's a Navy helicopter in the distance. Navy base over there. That Navy helicopter is coming right over us. I get gas. We talked about Kevin Smith's podcast, and then I went into the BLT Lunch Break podcast, and Bart and Logan and Tim. Another podcast I found recently, if you want to listen to, Mike Rowe does it, and it's like 10-minute podcast. He does them once a week, and I've actually gone through all. I think he's got like 60 out now. I just found him about 4 weeks ago, and I went back and listened to all 50 that were that I had missed. But if you remember Harvey and the rest of the story, Mike Rose is kind of like that. He basically tells you the story, and he builds up this, you know, this kind of unknown scenario, but then it seems like it's going to be relatable to now. Like, there's a lot of terms and stuff that make it seem like it's something that's happening in the present, but it's not. It actually happened in the past usually. So that's a really cool one. Like I said, it's only like 5 or 10 minutes long, but there's a traffic accident over there. Looks like a semi, maybe a semi hit a guardrail or something. But Mike Rose is really good. I listen to a lot of podcasts. They usually don't have any common theme. They're just random podcasts. You know, you've got Mike Rowe and his podcast about different little stories, but then you've got the BLT, which is just random stuff. You've got Kevin Smith and Ralph Garman that talk about Hollywood stuff, nerdy news, comic books, things like that. There's another podcast I've listened to a few times. It's like a D&D session, but done in podcast form. I'm not, if I read it and it interests me, I'll listen to it, because I drive to and from work about an hour every day, sometimes a little over that, like an hour and a half. It gives me plenty of time to listen to audiobooks, so that's pretty much what I do, to and from work. So those are just some podcasts that I kind of recommend you might enjoy. I'm gonna get a little further on down the road, turn the AC back on, because it's getting hot in here, and muggy.
Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
That's gonna go ahead and shut it down for the night. Till tomorrow.